Did you know that 1/3 of Americans suffer from extreme stress, while 50% of Americans suffer from mid to moderate stress? Stress seems to be a staple in our daily lives, so we don't always think about it or even notice the effects, both short-term and long-term, on our health and well-being. We seem to be so consumed with the routine of our lives that stress settles in and we just live with it instead of working to relieve stress. Between work, school, family, environmental, and social issues, stress seems to be coming from all directions. Short-term stress can be as simple as such as muscle stiffness or a headache, racing heart rates, or upset stomach. Some of these can be routine and nearly undetected by us on a daily basis. Then, before we realize it, we have some or all of these symptoms daily. We can pop some aspirin for a headache or at times for an upset stomach and not really think twice about it. With these simpler symptoms, we may not think of it as being stress and simply treat the symptom instead of trying to relieve the stress in our lives. Over time, the daily stress, larger, more serious, and long-term symptoms can pop up, such as eating disorders, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and even mental illness. Depression and anxiety are some of the more common mental issues that Americans face from stress. According to the Center of Disease Control, 11% of Americans aged 12 and up are currently prescribed antidepressants. That is a 400% increase from 2005 to 2008. Let that sink in for a minute. There are 3 different types of stress that you could be experiencing: acute stress, episodic acute stress, and chronic stress. Acute stress is the more moderate stress and is more common. It is very likely that you have experienced acute stress. Acute stress can be exciting at a small dose. An example would be a roller coaster. It can be very exciting at first and pump adrenaline, which is an effect of stress. But overdoing it can leave you being very tired. Acute stress will only affect you short term. It doesn't damage you enough to have long term, more intense effects. This is very tolerable and can be managed very easily. Episodic acute stress would be the person who is always rushing and doesn't have anything ready or in order. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong with this person. They are very easily annoyed and can be very short-tempered at times. They are always anxious. It will normally show up throughout their actions. This can be an effect of an extreme stressful situation. Their workplace can become a place they avoid. Symptoms of episodic stress can include presence tension, headaches, migraines, chest pain, and heart disease. If your stress gets to this point, it can be handled by seeing a trained professional. It can take time to be back to normal, but they can prescribe you medicine or medical help. People with this type of stress can see their life as fine and blame it on the symptoms such as short-tempered and easily irritated on those around them. The last type of stress is chronic stress. This is stress that will leave you exhausted. Chronic stress will damage your body and is extremely unhealthy. This is most commonly caused by trauma, a bad home life, or unhappy marriage. Some suffering from this can feel trapped as if they can never escape. It can cause you to give up. Chronic stress can begin to feel like it will always be there. Individuals get used to it, allowing it to tear apart your body. Acute stress is more noticeable because it's new. Symptoms can include suicide, violent heart attacks, stroke, and perhaps even cancer. If you are suffering from chronic stress, it is very important that you go see a doctor and get help as soon as possible. There are many long and short-term effects of stress. It can affect each body system in a way. One example would be respiratory and cardiovascular system. When you think of the effects of stress, it normally doesn't occur to you that they can be as big as strokes and heart attacks. I know this might surprise some of you, but I'll explain. When you get stressed, it can cause you to breathe heavily, which causes oxygen-rich blood. People with asthma can be heavily affected by this. A heart then pumps blood much faster, which causes your heart to work too hard for too long. Rising blood pressure causes risk of stroke or heart attack. Our central nervous system can be affected by a fight or flight response. A hormone is released when our bodies come to this point. Our body's heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing rate rises when our body puts out these chemicals. Oftentimes, individuals overlook their stress. We often view it as normal because we live in such a stressful world. Working day in and day out jobs can push this stress upon us. We are often so worried about getting everything done that on our to-do list that we don't have time to take a step back and see just how much stress is affecting us. The headache that we often blame on not enough sleep or no caffeine can be an effect of stress. We are known for taking something small and stressing over it to the point where we don't think of anything else. Taking mental health days and de-stressing can be extremely beneficial every once in a while. Setting aside time to reevaluate and just have some alone time can decrease stress. Studies have shown that getting outside into fresh air and nature can decrease physiological stress. The reason that nature can decrease stress is because in our minds it is linked to calmness and a place of many resources. Being in an unpleasant environment can push stress upon us. Being in nature can reduce the blood pressure, heart rate, muscle tension, and production of stress hormones. Research has shown that something as simple as putting a small plant in your room can reduce stress. Another way to help with stress is by getting out and exercising. There are a number of ways to help. One being it pumps endorphins into your brain, which is a chemical that makes you feel better. Exercise can take your mind off stress and give you time to think about other things and overall connect with yourself. Now that you are aware that stress doesn't only face you with short-term effects such as loss of sleep, but instead can face you with much more severe effects such as a stroke or heart attack, will you take time to help with your stress? A simple walk outside or even plant in your room could help. There is an acute stress with only short-term stress, and chronic stress can be severe and long-term effects.